Howdy folks, how are we? We well? Well, welcome back. I was having a thought over the weekend as I was reading the DCS news feature within Steam, and it was talking about a new update which is coming soon. And it just got me thinking about the future of DCS and what I would like to see. I know it's an old conversation, cropped up many times over the years. As we evolve, there's been some very welcome changes. ED constantly updating DCS world. We saw one of the biggest changes over the last year or so, the proper volumetric clouds, which was proper weather system, which was wonderful. And obviously as well, we've seen the introduction of new planes, haven't we? And I remember when the F-16 was launched, that was absolutely awesome. Yeah, and we've seen more recently the F-4 and the Chinook, which is fantastic. So it's just one of those moments where I just stared out of the window and contemplated while I took a sip of coffee and thought, what would I like to see within DCS? And then that obviously got me thinking about you guys and what you would like to see in DCS, especially as we are looking towards the end of the year now. There's only like a few months left before we start 2025, and I just thought it would be a wonderful opportunity to throw my ring into the hat and say what I would like to see, and be interested to see what you would like. I came away with 5 distinct features, additions I suppose. And on the forums for conversations similar to this that have started years ago, I saw a lot of people requesting additional aircraft, which I guess is understandable because we all have our favourites. And I suppose with the business model as it is, these are likely to get added in the future, either by third-party mods, either free or paid, or from ED directly. I wasn't thinking of more planes myself, but the subject did spark a thought I think would actually benefit us all, including Eagle Dynamics. So anyway, without further ado, I think here's my top 5 DCS requests for 2025. Let's go for this then. So number 1 then, on the subject of aircraft, yes, I could list my favourite here, the Eurofighter, which I think is in the works. You know, the old Tornado as well, the old Cold War stuff. But I personally think ED could attract the Microsoft Flight Sim fans over as well, because there is a definite divide between combat flight simmers, your fast jets, and people that like your 747s, commercial planes. It'd be wonderful if ED introduced flyable KC-135 tankers, or perhaps AWACS planes, or perhaps even the big bombers like the B-52, people that like that sort of thing, because at the moment I don't think there are any of those types of aircraft available. And I just think it would be wonderful for people who like to fly those things and actually give them purpose, because Microsoft Flight Sim's always suffered with the issue of purpose, hasn't it? I mean, sure, it's nice to fly from A to B to see truly impressive landscapes, but it does quickly become a little bit boring, I think. Yes, the fun is in operating the aircraft properly, making sure that you're following the air traffic control and all that sort of stuff, and there's merit in that, and there's an enjoyment from that. But I think, imagine if you could actually fly an AWACS or a KC-135 tanker and making sure that you're on station on time and actually being there to help others refuel. Having said all that, of course, there is a new Microsoft Flight Sim coming out soon, and I think they're actually addressing this purpose issue that I mentioned. I think there's going to be a career mode of sorts or something. It's something I heard anyway, but it's something I'm going to be looking into. But I just can't help but feel that Eagle Dynamics would attract a lot of new customers by doing that. But maybe I'm talking through my rear end. Anyway, so number 2 then, the editor. It's been that way now for a long time. It's seen a few welcome updates over the years. Weather feature was a really nice example, but I feel it's something that's missing a trick or two. At the moment, it does offer itself as a useful tool to build missions from, although you could argue it's not very user-friendly to those who are sort of easily intimidated, I suppose, and it does need external files for extra features not found within the editor itself, which is often the way to get around its limitations. I have seen people requesting a debugging tool as well, I guess to prevent having to commit to a flight to see if things worked as desired. It's a bit like the mission editor found in Arma 3 actually. For those that have dabbled with that, you'll know what I'm talking about. There are other things too, like an undo button or a redo button. Definitely an area I think to expand on, and it is sort of showing its age a little bit now. It's not an exercise to bash on ED though. This what is there is very good. It's quite powerful, but it does require a lot of reading, a lot of tutorials I suppose, to get the most out of it, because some people have done some really amazing missions out of it. So yeah, it's not a bad tool by any stretch. I'd like to see it sort of configured in such a way, ready for future proofing, things like pre-flight facility, and being ready for things like a data cartridge maybe, which brings me to number 3. Yes, the data cartridge. It would be absolutely wonderful to have a data cartridge that you could use this mission editor for your online flights. So for me, for example, thinking of the buddy spike at the moment, when you jump in, you don't have anything. You only have what the sim gives you, what the mission gives you. But it would be absolutely fantastic to have perhaps an intel screen, which you could use to gauge possible threats. You could add your own threat circles in, mark points prior to flying. And I think this feature may well be coming, may already be on their wish list. I have heard it mentioned before. I think they added recently the flight planner that was introduced in the F10 map is certainly a short-term quick fix that was very welcome, very useful, and quite nice to see that. But yeah, I think having a new mission editor that could be easily tweaked to use as a pre-flight tool would be excellent for a data cartridge. Number 4 then, as mentioned, purpose. Probably the biggest one this, and that is definitely a dynamic campaign. Anyone who has ever flown BMS will know what I'm talking about, Falcon BMS that is. But the dynamic campaign is at the very heart of that simulation, and it brings purpose. I use that word a lot, don't I? Purpose to your flights. Just ignites people's enthusiasm, you know, to contribute towards a war effort, rather than set-piece missions that essentially die when you finish it. There's been some efforts to try and create the illusion that an outcome can affect the next mission, and whilst this can be fun, it does feel somewhat hollow and empty. And again, I don't want to bash on what we have. What we have is very good. I mean, the Buddy Spike service that I keep going on about on my channel have attempted to address the issue of purpose, and it does a fine job, but it is a little thin, confined as it is within current limitations that we have. I mean, I could mention here what a dynamic campaign is and what would look like, but in short, it's basically to be involved in what feels like a living, breathing world. You know, AI flights generated with their own schedules, of which you can witness or be a part of. It is something I feel would be similar or perhaps more detailed with what we have in Falcon 4 BMS. We'll see. It's definitely something I would like to see. And number 5 then, this is my own personal request. This is just something that I just wish we had. I really do. I mean, the dynamic campaign would be an earthquake of a change, which would just be absolutely awesome. But this one is just my own personal one. Ego Dynamics, if you're listening, which I doubt, but if you are, please, 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 can we have a working replay system for us content creators? You know, track files are flaky at best and often break, sometimes resulting in CTD, but just a reliable track file. I mean, the amount of good action that I've had, some really good flights, and I've come to the track file, and for whatever reason the radar just doesn't show the target, and my missile just shoots off, or the target on the targeting pod is just not there. It's just, I can't use the track file, and I've had to give up on that particular sequence, that particular event, and I've had to do a new flight. I know people say track files aren't meant for replays, they're just meant to see if you shut you down and stuff, but for us content creators it would be absolutely fantastic to have them be reliable and not break. Fast forward and backwards, a rewind feature, or a chapter feature, so you can actually jump to a segment of your recording. Some better camera control features as well, analog input devices that you can slowly pan or slowly zoom in and out, dynamic ranges, go into the sim in one replay to get all of my external views, internal views. I could rewind, I could go back to a chapter to get another external view of the same sort of moment without having to exit the sim and go back in. It would in fact quite literally save me days of getting all the footage that I need. Quite literally days. I mean, for anybody who's seen my videos and you see my intros, that intro, of which is probably 2 minutes, 3 minutes of my video, that the intro alone, that moment, can take me as much as 2 to 3 days to get all of the angles. It takes so long to get all of the footage, because I have to, as I say, go in, get the internal views, come out, go back in again, get a particular external view of a particular plane, then go out, come back in again, get perhaps the external view of a missile coming in at certain angles. I might miss a moment, so then I have to go back out to come back in again. And bear in mind, we could be talking about a missile impact that's an hour into the track file, and then it hasn't happened that often, but sometimes I'm fast forwarding to get to that moment and I've gone too far and I've missed it. I'm like, oh god damn it. Sometimes I have to just think, no, time's too short now, I'm gonna have to miss that shot, come out and just, you know, go without it for a moment. Sometimes I'm determined to get that shot, I'll have to go back in again, and it is literally just it's days where if we had a rewind feature, wow, absolutely wow. I could easily therefore do, you know, a video or two a week easily. I insist on the qualities I create. I don't want to not do the things in the way that I do them, not just because I enjoy them, but I really do take pride in the things that I do, and even if nobody likes what I do, you know, it pleases me and I enjoy doing them, and it's something I'm proud of when I see it. Anyway, I'm rambling. Anyway, those are my top 5. What do you think? Perhaps everything I've mentioned there is you couldn't care less. Or perhaps you feel that number 2 or number 1 is more important than anything else I've mentioned. Just write in the comments below what you think. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye-bye.